examinations for pupils in exit classes. Our own Usman Akwanga is joining us live from one of the schools within the Central Business District of Abuja with an update on the preparation for the reopening. We also have Professor Asham May Samari from the Faculty of Education, University of Abuja. He joins us from Jos via Zoom. Now, I'll begin with you, Akwanga. Give us a sense of some actions already instituted and in place in the school where you're currently as part of proactive measures to curb spread and perhaps contain a suspected case.
Thank you very much, Nyeri, if you can hear me. Here at the Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Memorial Academy in Garki, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria, we have far-reaching measures here on ground. As you can see right behind me, there are about 7 hand-washing containers installed to contain some of the returning students who will be sitting for their final year exams. Apart from these, again, you go around the classes, you discover that in each of these classes you have 15 students. This is not to say that there are not enough classrooms to accommodate the number of these students, but for the fact that they need to really comply with the protocols of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, as well as directive from the state, from the Ministry of Education.
Akwanga, that school seems to be quite prepared. Professor Mesamari, could you please unmute your audio so we can communicate? Now, Prof, the federal government has varied the reopening of schools, beginning with pupils whose national examinations are the closest. Give us an assessment of the guidelines put in place and how that is likely to impact on the reopening. Could you please unmute your audio, Prof, so we can hear you? All right, looks like we're having signals with Prof. As soon as we can reestablish a connection with him, we'd ask him some questions. Now, Akwanga, back to you. Do you have a sense of how the school intends to conduct classes? Are they likely to stagger the classes and do that in batches, or are we going to see full classes in session?
We don't really know what will be obtainable by tomorrow in other schools, but right here at the Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Memorial Academy at Garki, the school management says they have taken a proactive measure, and some of this measure is to ensure that every student returning as exiting student must ensure that their hands are properly sanitized, and the social distancing as one of the protocols established by the NCDC is fully complied by the student. The management are also, as a matter of fact, ensuring that the classroom are decongested as much as possible, just to put these students apart from each other as far as taking the exams is concerned, and their safety is also concerned.
All right, thank you, Akwanga. Prof, could you please unmute your audio? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Professor Asham, can you hear me? Okay, now, Prof, the federal government has varied the reopening of schools, beginning with pupils whose national examinations are the closest. Give us an assessment of the guidelines put in place and how that is likely to impact on the reopening.
Well, I think this has been the anxiety of both government and parents. The preparation put in place by the government and various schools to address the challenges that we are afraid of. What is important is the implementation by the individual schools. If only they will keep to this protocol, I am sure the student will be safe. But I must need to add that in addition to all the protocol they have, there should be a check to ensure that when the students are coming in, they are actually free from COVID-19. knowing that it is possible for one to harbour the virus for as long as 14 days before it manifests. I would here want to commend Ogun State government, who have made it a necessity that on arrival, students must be tested before they are admitted.
Okay. All right, Prof. Just before we move on in that particular direction, could you please adjust your lens so we can see you clearly, so we can see your full face? Some states like Ogun, like you just mentioned, for instance, made COVID-19 and malaria testing compulsory as part of their measures to ensure that students in boarding schools are prepared for resumption. And I hear only those who test negative are allowed access. What are your thoughts on this move, and what is your opinion, what's your opinion as regards boosting the confidence in the reopening of schools?
Well, like I started, I said it is a commendable effort that before students are admitted, they should be tested and be sure that they are negative before they are admitted to integrate with others.
Prof, I still can't see you. Could you adjust the camera lens so I can see you? Yes. Okay, that's fine. I think I can see you now.
Beautiful. Yeah, what I'm saying is that the pre-testing before admission into the various campuses is necessary and should be taken serious. This is at the background of the fact that these students could look healthy, but at the end of the day, they are having the virus in them, which could manifest after some days and would be could affect others. And therefore, government should do everything, and individual schools should do everything necessary to ensure that. The only problem I find with that is the charge. To charge 25,000 naira per parent or per child for the test.
Okay.
Is something.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prof, for your thoughts on Panorama. Let's just go back to Akwanga quickly. Did you speak with any of the instructors or teachers present at the school to gauge their expectations and reactions to the reopening of the school for final year pupils?
Yes, I did earlier, and they said officials of the Ministry of Education were here on Wednesday last week to ensure that all the outlined protocols by the ministry are provided, are put on ground to ensure that they contain the spread of coronavirus as far as sitting for the final year exam by the student is concerned. And then the management also ensure the public that there is no cause for alarm, as they have taken all the measures to ensure that there is no outbreak of this deadly virus amongst the students who will be returning to take their final exams.
All right, thank you, Akwanga. Let me just quickly go back to Prof, hoping that I can see his full face now. Okay, well, it looks like we've lost signals with Professor Asham. Thank you so much, Akwanga. Now, it's Panorama, live on the network service of the NTA. Let's take a quick break. Do stay.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Thank you for staying. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to celebrate the World Breastfeeding Week, our correspondent Basi Ita Ekpeng reports that this year the WHO is working with UNICEF and partners to promote the importance of family-friendly policies to enable breastfeeding and help parents nurture and bond with their children in early life.
That yellowish substance that comes out immediately after childbirth, professionals say is the only source of water and nutrients an infant needs within the first 6 months of life. A breakdown shows breast milk contains some valuable nutrients that can decrease respiratory infection, diarrhea, and other communicable diseases. Breastfeeding also contributes to child spacing as well as decrease ovarian and breast cancer. Despite these gains, record shows that only 27% of lactating mothers give their babies only breast milk in the first 6 months of life, which is below 50% target. These and more inform the 7-day advocacy aimed at creating awareness on exclusive breastfeeding by WHO, UNICEF, and some partners.
So for this year, what we are looking at is ensure that there is a skill counseling services that ensure that mothers and family receive support for counseling and being able to breastfeed. And this counseling is key to ensure that this woman is able to really breastfeed her child very well.
This year's theme, Support Breastfeeding for a Healthier Planet, experts say is apt. The week-long advocacy was also aimed at bringing to an end infant mortality from malnutrition and educate mothers on the need to adhere to exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, as well as continue complementary breastfeeding for 2 years of the child's life. Basi Taipang, NTA News.
Many thanks, Basi. And from Lagos, we hear that the buildings affected by Saturday's fire outbreak in the Ladipo axis of Mushin have been leveled to the ground to prevent any secondary incident. Lynn Leneke, who visited in the aftermath of the demolition, reports that traders in the vicinity were seen in clusters discussing how to prevent reoccurrence of such calamity.
What was left of the affected structures was pulled down by the officers of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, to prevent the traders from using them as temporary stalls, thereby endangering their lives. From the news gathered from the agency, about 30 shops, 6 bungalows, and 3-bedroom flats were razed. Manuel Agunyi is one of the shop owners.
My material is Turkish material, which I sold 3,500 per yard. So the value is about more than 100 million. It's terrible. I never experienced fire for my life.
Me that it was one man living in this compound. He was doing preparing indomie to eat. While doing that, the stove catch fire.
Fire extinguisher is very, very important to everybody, even in your house, in your room. It's very important to be having it.
Although fire was still burning in some parts of the affected areas, the traders engaged the services of water vendors to put it out. Number 16 Ladipo Street, usually known for its busy nature, is now a shadow of itself as commercial activities have been brought to a halt temporarily. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Now, looking at security, Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said aircraft hangars are to be constructed to ensure effective maintenance of aircraft for smooth operations in the fight against bandits ravaging Katsina State and its environs. The Chief of the Air Staff addressed troops of Air Component Operation Hadarin Daji and 213 Forward Operational Base, Katsina, explaining that this would facilitate the fight against armed bandits in the northwest. Awal Halaru reports.
Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said the construction of the hangars would commence in 2 weeks' time and would be based in Katsina.
I believe by the time it is fully erected, it will add a lot of value to our maintenance. Our technicians will not have to maintain aircraft in the open, in the sun, under very harsh temperatures.
Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar appreciated the frontline troops for their courage, resilience, and dedication. He also explained that more equipment for the fight against banditry would be provided to the troops to boost their morale. Governor Aminu Bello Masari explained that communities and local people have to be involved to succeed in the fight against bandits in the state.
We as a government are looking at ways and means of assisting communities to sustain peace. This is in addition to community policing. We have to create ownership, leadership at the lowest level.
He then expressed gratitude for their efforts in ensuring peace in the country. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
And just a bit of politics, members of the All Progressives Congress in the Southeast Zone have reached a consensus to uphold the desire to protect, expand and sustain the party's victory in the zone, more particularly in Imo State. The decision was announced at a press briefing in Abuja. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
The inauguration of APC's National Caretaker and Extraordinary National Convention Committee, intra-party peace building among members, has remained top on the agenda. Therefore, the quest for political stability in Imo State and the desire to sustain the resuscitated infrastructural development under the Buhari-led administration across the country, particularly in the southeast, informed this decision.
We also encourage all members of the party to discontinue all legal suits as resolved by the last NEC meeting and supported by His Excellency, President Muhammad Buhari. We, the stakeholders of the party, as a party faithful, shall continue to support our APC-led government of His Excellency, Governor Hope Uzodinma, Governor Mayor Malak Buni-led National Caretaker Committee, and we will continue to support the President Muhammad Buhari-led administration.
They unanimously agreed to take up the task of expanding the scope of APC with support to its leaders at all levels of government. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullah.
And on sports update, WTA event in Italy signals resumption of tennis. Atamanzi Marcus tells us more.
When the entry list for the 148th edition of the U.S. Open is published this week, some names will be missing due to COVID-19. After the withdrawal of compatriot and women's world number one Ashley Barty, Nick Kyrgios has opted out of the last Grand Slam of the season. The 25-year-old Australian, ranked 40, revealed he recognized lower-wage employees want the tournament to hold, and he respects their opinion and that of the organizers. According to him, let's take a breath here and remember what's important, which is health and safety as a community. We can rebuild our sport and the economy, but we can never recover lives lost. The U.S. Open holds from August 31 to September 13. After a 5-month coronavirus-induced break, the tennis season resumes Monday with the Palermo Ladies Open in Italy. World number 15 Croatia's Petra Martic disclosed the break provided her an opportunity of looking ahead to a future without tennis competitions, adding that to be part of the return of tennis is great. So I'm just going to try to enjoy myself. To be back on the court right now is really just a privilege without thinking about any results or any goals or focus on numbers or anything else, she said. The WTA had earlier revealed that an unnamed player has withdrawn from the tournament after testing positive for coronavirus. For Sports Update, Manzi Marcus, NTA News.
All right, that's Panorama today. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.